Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to take the entire front clip off of a 2016 Range Rover. This should be applicable to all L405, so that's like what, 2012 through 2020 or something like that. I'll find out for sure and put it in the condition description. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to show you how to take all this off. The front fascia, the front bumper, the front radiator support, the headlights, even the radiator and condenser where I'm sitting. Enjoy.
All right, let's get started. First thing that I've already done, but I'll show you how it was done, is remove the tow hook cover. Down here on the ground, there's a panel that sits right in front of here. Basically, all you have to do is turn some screws 90 degrees. You can see right here there is a slit where one of them goes. There's 4 of them that go along here. I'll show you what those look like. Here they are. When they are perpendicular to the car like this, they're secured. When you turn them and they're parallel with the car, they're unsecured, and you pull the back half of that tow hook cover down. Now with the tow hook cover hanging down, you just grab it and you pull it out. It's quite tight, and it's clipped in along here in these little slits right there, right there, right there. You pull it forward. Start in a corner and get it moving, and then it'll all come off. Okay, after you get the tow hook cover off, there's some T30 Torx screws you're going to pull off. You got one here, you got one here. That's the 2 up in the front. You got 4 of them in the back, 4. You got one here, one there, and one further on the other side, right by the control arm. Pull those off. All right, now I've got the hood up. I'm going to take this front grille off. There's some push pins, one here, one there, and one there. Total of 4. Basically take the centerpiece out and then pull the whole pin out. After those are out, grab the bottom of the grill and pull it towards you, and the whole grill will pop out. Okay, the grill's off. Don't be scared, it's quite tight. Again, start at a corner, pull it out, move along, and it'll come out. It sits in these clips right here. Okay, total of 4 clips. Start in a corner. Now let's get these 8mm screws out. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you've got to get the front wheel arch liners out. I've removed the wheel. You don't have to do this. If you have a running vehicle, you can just put it in off-road mode, and you can have enough room up here to get this front portion out right here. This vehicle does not run. I'm working on its engine, and I will link a video down below that shows me rebuilding this engine. But anyway, you got a Phillips screw here, you got a Phillips screw there, and then you have some push pins. You got one right here, you got one right here, and you got one right here. That's inside of the wheel liner here. And then down below here, you're going to have a few things underneath this air guard here. Let me spin around, I'm sorry. You're going to have 3 push pins, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 Phillips screws. One there, and one there. And this whole liner, this front portion, will come out. Do this on both sides. It's the same hardware on both sides. Okay, after you get the driver's side wheel arch, front wheel arch piece out here, they're on the driver's side here on the USA models. There's an electrical connector for all the parking sensors and whatnot in the front. There's a tab you push here, and then you can pull this connector out. There's another connector right here that had already gotten loose. You push a tab, pull that out. Then there's a fir tree piece right here, a little barb that goes in a hole right there. Get that out, and then just let this dangle on the driver's side. Okay, and then once you get the passenger side out, dust flying around after getting this thing off, you have some washer fluid lines here, right here. Just disconnect them. This is just a plastic barb fitting over this rubber hose. Just separate it right here and right here. Pull these hoses off. There's probably going to be some fluid in here, so if you want, it's just washer fluid. If you want, you can have a bucket ready to catch the fluid. Okay, I've pulled those hoses off for the front headlight washers. this is a Phillips screw right here. Pull that out on this side and on the other side. So passenger side, driver side, there's a screw right here. Pull those out. Okay, once both of those are screwed out, unscrewed, it's basically right on the other side of this, underneath. Okay, that side and that side. Those are the last two screws. Then you just grab underneath here and you pull this out. You'll notice that there's some tabs that this thing fits into this little keeper right here. So just pull those out. I'm going to do that on the other side, and this whole front fascia is going to come off. Alright, there it is, folks. The front fascia is off. There are a few little tabs, like right in here, that the front fascia fits into. So those might fight you a little bit coming off, but not too bad. Okay, now it's time to get the headlights out. Getting the headlights out is super duper simple, very intuitive. There is going to be a rubber shroud right here. Just pull this Phillips screw out of this, pull this tab out of its holder, and then get this rubber piece off and out of the way. Then you've got one bolt right here, one bolt right here, one bolt right here, and then one last bolt underneath here. Those are 10 millimeter, and then you'll be able to slide the headlight out. I'm going to try to do this here with holding the camera. I left this in here pretty loose. Bolt is out. Then you just grab this headlight. Sorry, just going to pull it here. You pull it out, and then on the back there is going to be a connector right here. Press the tab, pull the connector out, and then the entire headlight is ready to come out. Do that on the other side as well.
Okay, now let's get these shrouds off of the intercoolers. There's a push pin here. There's another one over here. And then behind the intercoolers, it's clipped on right here. So let's get these shrouds off. Okay, after the shrouds are off both the right hand side and the left hand side, you can just take this centerpiece here, slide that out of the way. Let's work on getting this front crash bar off. This is the actual bumper. Everyone calls the front fascia the bumper, but this is the actual bumper here. Let's start with taking off this support bar underneath here. You got a 15 millimeter there, and then underneath you got two 13 millimeters on this side, two 13 millimeters on this side. Let's get this bar off. Okay, in the center of this crash bar is a sensor. I believe this is for the adaptive cruise control. Two 8 millimeter bolts there, an 8 millimeter bolt there. Pull it out, unclip it. You'll have some fir trees that are helping route it. Pull those out. I was going to attempt to get this whole bumper off as far back as possible by taking these 13 millimeter bolts off. But as it sits right now, I can only take these off and just get the front piece off. So I'm going to pause taking this off right now and work on getting this upper plastic piece off. Just because I don't want to take off more than I have to. And looking at how this is bolted in, you got a piece up here that bolts in to this big bracket that I want to take off, and this it's almost like a unistrut type piece, is where the front upper support bolts in. So I'm going to pause on this lower portion here for a second, and let's work on taking the top portion off. Let's take these beauty pieces off up the top here all the way across. It's got some screws. You unscrew them. The pin comes out just like this. Once you get it unscrewed, just pull it off. Find all those up here top and get those out. Let's drain the coolant. Easy to get to now. There's a drain plug right underneath here. Let's go right down from the bumper here. I believe it was 14 millimeter. Pull that drain plug out, drain the coolant. While the coolant's down there draining, there's a fragile little overflow line here. We're going to undo it from the expansion tank. We're going to undo it from the engine. They're all three like this. There's a half moon deal that goes across this thing. Once you pull the half moon off, you'll be able to pull the line out. After you get that coolant line off, come over here. There will be an 8 millimeter screw here that bolts into the overflow tank. Once that screws out, you'll be able to lift the tank up and pull it back. Notice I've taken the air boxes out just to give myself some more room. Pretty intuitive to get those out. Anyway, once this is back, you can stare down here. There's a bolt there and a bolt there. That's what's going in the top of that portion of the bumper. At this point, you're going to have to just kind of follow along the back side of this thing. There's a bunch of stuff that attaches to this support, this skeleton support here. You got a wiring harness here. We're going to undo anything that attaches to it. These intercoolers are bolted to it as well. There's a bolt here that we'll get from the back side. So I'm going to work my way across this thing, and anything I see attached to it, I'm going to undo. If I come over anything funky, I'll let you know. Okay, starting on the driver's side, the left-hand side, there is a hood latch cable connector right here. I've just kind of bent it back out of the way. It clips on up here, underneath here somewhere. Get it off that clip. Oh, there's a clip right there. Get it off that clip and bend it back out of the way. Before you can bend it out of the way, you got to get it out of its box holder here. Just pull it out of here. There it is. And then you got this cable tray here. Just get it off of the connections right here and right here. Then you have a sensor right here that needs to be unplugged. Wire goes underneath here. Then on the back side of here, there's an electrical sensor. Basically just tells you if your hood is popped or not. And then the coolant bottle also has a sensor right here. And just move those wires back. Moving along here, not a whole lot of stuff that I see in the middle. You'll come up to a fan plug here. Unplug that. Your horns right here. Unplug this. Unplug your horns underneath here. And then you can just pull this thing. It's got a fir tree that goes there. Another fir tree here that broke on me. And then move that harness out of the way there. Now we should be free to unbolt this thing and slide it off. Looks like you only have to do the outermost intercooler screw, at least for now. This other one is going to stay in for now. Okay, so now we're going to look at this bolt, and this bolt. Same thing on the other side. And then underneath here, looks like we've got 2 bolts here. And on the other side, 2 bolts there as well. I'm going to work on sliding this thing out. Okay, and that was it. These brackets over here are a little bit tricky. You got to kind of bend them up and out of the way. And you do need to lift the thing up as you slide out because it fits over the top of the radiator here. Okay, now let's go back down to this this bumper. Unbolt it here. Looks like we've got 13mm bolts, top and bottom, on both sides, and I'll get that the crash bar off. Looking quite different now, isn't it? After the crash bar is off, don't forget there's a wire for that adaptive cruise control that you need to pull some fir trees off so it's no longer attached to it. Once that is off, the air ducting shroud just kind of comes right off. It's not really fastened onto anything. Okay. Now I'm going to get my air conditioning stuff out because I'm going to take this whole unit off. So I will hook up over here and discharge the air conditioning. While that is discharging, I think I'm going to just go ahead and pull these intercoolers off. It's not required, but I don't want to damage these things while I'm working on this thing, so I'm going to pull the intercoolers off as well. Okay, the air conditioning has been discharged, and you can see I removed the intercoolers. It's just a coolant pipe up top. You push in, pull out. There's a hose clamp on bottom. You pull that off. Same thing on the other side, and there's just one last 10mm bolt down towards the bottom, right here, and right here. Then you just pull the intercoolers off. It's just better to get those out of the way. You don't want to damage those. Now it's just kind of dealer's choice. All of these coolant hoses are going to have to come off for me to work on this engine anyway. So I'm just going to take a look down here and pick which ones I want to take off. And once it's done and off, I will show you which ones I took off. All right, radiator and condenser are out. Not too terribly difficult. I ended up taking a lot with it. Okay, I disconnected up here. I disconnected here, here, and here, and unbolted the thermostat from right here. And I undid the transmission lines that go to the transmission cooler. After that, there's a couple fir trees on the bottom right here and right here that hold this hose up. Underneath here, there's, I believe they were T40, maybe T45 Torx underneath here that hold the radiator. And then after that, I just pulled the whole unit out, fan, condenser, radiator, all together. Even finagled the coolant reservoir underneath this power steering hose, took it out with it, just left everything as connected as possible. The auxiliary intercooler water pump stayed on. Its connection goes up the fan shroud and just connects over here, so you just have to unconnect that. Easy peasy. And just pulled it out and set it aside. That is how you get the fascia, the bumper, the upper radiator support, the headlights, and the radiator and condenser and fan out.